And you're welcome back to Morning Express. Now, for the second leg of conversations of the program, we're being joined virtually by Ese Osa Ewere, a member, PDP and Asue-Ogie Campaign Council. Hello and a very good morning to you, Mr. Ewere. It's wonderful to have you join us on Morning Express.
Good morning, my dear brother. Good morning. And how are you guys doing in the studio?
Very well, thank you. Well, very quickly, let's delve into matters. The Edo Election Tribunal, that started off in Benin City and transitioned to the Federal Capital Territory. And we hear much recently that yesterday the People's Democratic Party has decided to close the case. What is this development like? And are you satisfied so far with the proceedings that have held at the tribunal?
Well, yeah. Thank you so much, and good morning once again. The tribunal had commenced in Benin last year, sometime around December.
Yeah.
It's for concerns of insecurity. The tribunal had to apply for relocation to Abuja, which of course we all saw. And we have a lot of witnesses we had wanted to field for further exposure of the fraud characterizing the Edo 2024 governorship election. But we thought we would be fielding a number of witnesses, a significant number of witnesses, because we didn't have the confidence that INEC was going to tender the beavers machines that were deployed for the election. Because just after the election, we had gotten a court order, INEC had gotten a court order to allow our lawyers inspect the machines. But that order was flouted and all that. So we needed to prepare our witnesses from across areas where there are issues. But only last week, I'm sure you saw 144 beavers machines tendered by INEC after they were being subpoenaed by the courts. And just yesterday, another 5 beavers machines were added. So which that necessitated our lawyers having to wrap up the case, because everything the witness would have said or testified are already housed in the beavers. And beyond that, we have a lot of other significant evidence that has the capacity to expose the fraud that surrounds the election. We have CTCs, all our evidence are in CTCs. We have the beavers machines. We have PWs as the potential witnesses, and we have the EC80 forms and all others that have this information, particularly as it concerns results concerning the Edo 2024 governorship election. So that's not a big deal. It's because the election, the tribunal is time bound.
Yeah.
So as at yesterday, you could see that the NPC and even the INEC, they objected the admission of the additional 5 beavers machines, but that objection was overruled by the tribunal, and the machines were admitted.
Now,
at the end of the day,
according to the results declared by INEC following the elections, it says that Tokwebolo had secured about 291,667 votes, while your principal, Igodalo, had garnered 247,655 votes. Now, your side claimed that you had cited alleged overvoting and collation of incorrect figures at the collation centers. And then now this is an argument that has been refuted by the All Progressives side, led by Senator Monday Okwebolo, who is now the incumbent governor of Edo State. In clear terms, can you simplify what you mean by overvoting and incorrect figures at these collation centers during the elections that happened in your state?
It's simple. Overvoting, like for instance, you have 100 accredited voters in a unit. That is to say that the number of votes that should emanate from that unit across party lines should not exceed 100. But when you now have results, you have Party A scoring maybe 200. You have Party B scoring maybe 100.
Yeah.
And you have Party C scoring maybe 50. You already have overvoting. You understand? Because it has exceeded 100, and you have even given one party 200, whereas on 100 accredited voters. So the number of votes that should originally emanate from that particular unit should be 100 or less. So when it becomes otherwise, then that is an issue of overvoting. And this is what our lawyers have been able to detect across various units within the areas that we have captured having issues. And then the other issue that you raised, which is wrong computation of results. Wrong computation of results, it's when you alter an original number of votes. Like, for instance, there are many cases where the number of votes were altered, increased. There are many cases where votes of our party were deducted and added to that of the APC of Peru.
These are very strong claims. These are very strong claims you're making.
No.
Are these things that you can substantiate fully well, or have you been able to do that at the Election Petition Tribunal?
Absolutely. That is what we have done, and that is why the beavers had to come, because INEC had refused submitting those beavers machines at the initial stage, but the court had to reorder them to submit those beavers machines. And when they brought the beavers machines last week, they brought 148.
Yeah.
Only yesterday they brought additional 5, which also addresses the issue. So there are several issues of malpractice, irregularities, inconsistencies that has been detected. And yesterday was a perfect day for our legal representatives to wrap up our case, because everything that our witness would be saying or would have been saying from tomorrow and beyond are already housed in the beavers and other evidential materials that are now before the tribunal, as submitted by our legal representatives, led by Ken Mosia.
Now, you cited irregularities on the part of INEC, both during the elections and even at the Election Petition Tribunal, where, at first they had initially objected to submitting certain documents, for public review to ensure that the accusations leveled against them by the People's Democratic Party is not true. Why do you think that INEC had in the first instance refused tendering these evidences to the court? Could it be true that maybe there were some foul play during the elections?
Well, the issues are clear. The issues are very clear. There have been explosive revelations of INEC's complicity with and compromise of their own electoral acts and electoral proceedings. There ought to be a strict compliance with their own electoral proceedings and electoral acts. But we are seeing complicity, a massive complicity, massive disregard for their own electoral laws. And this affected the outcome of the election in no small measure. At the end of this session, I could send you guys some documents so that you have a clear view of what I'm talking about. So there's massive compliance of INEC, and that has been proven. Otherwise, why would INEC, even as at yesterday at the Abuja Tribunal, you could see the INEC legal representative objecting the submission of their own machines, of their own beavers machines. So that's something one has to wonder. Why would INEC, the electoral body that conducted the Edo 2024 governorship election, now has to be the same body objecting the submission of beavers by it? So there are issues, and we think that the tribunal in its wisdom will do what is right. We have seen the avowed determination and commitment of the tribunal to do what is right and ensure that the judgment flowing from this conversation is judgment that revolves around credibility, justice, fairness, equity, and will be acceptable by every party that are involved in this conversation.
Now, Mr. Ewere, let me take you back a little bit to when the Election Petition Tribunal was being held in Benin City. A lot of people have, found a way to wriggle their way out of this particular question I'm about to ask you. At some point, there was a shooting at the venue of the tribunal sitting. And
Yes.
Fingers were pointing to the All Progressives Congress. Fingers were pointing to the PDP. It was more like a trade of words. Your side said it was the APC. The APC said the PDP had paid hoodlums to disrupt the sitting. What do you think happened on that day?
My brother, I'm sure there is no, you work with ADBN, I'm sure there is no way you cast stone against the ADBN.
Certainly.
Because whatever it is, that is where you get your daily bread. We are the ones that have petitioned the tribunal as to irregularities in the election, as to malpractice, as to a massive electoral malpractice, as to inconsistencies in the election. So, and the outcome of the election is what many agencies, local and international, have discredited and said it fails all forms of integrity tests and all that. So we are in court. We are trying to get our mandate that has been stolen by the APC. And how do you expect the same us that are in court to now mobilize thugs to the same court and start shooting sporadically to disrupt the process? I think there is no logical sense in that. I don't know where these whole things are coming from.
One of the arguments on the table is the fact that perhaps due to the statements made by that particular individual shooting into the air. Now he was captured. He was captured as saying, we must reclaim our mandate. Give us our mandate. In clear terms, a party that has already won election cannot send a hoodlum to come and demand for a mandate that is already theirs. What is your argument on this?
That's a very poor that's a very poor drama they acted at the court premises. But today, that guy, you can't find him anywhere now. We know where these things are coming from, and that is just one of the several attempts to disrupt hearings at the tribunal. You saw another just after that. I'm sure you saw another video where an APC member was dishing out threats on the police personnel and the DSS personnel and all that.
Yes.
So all of these put together have necessitated the relocation of the tribunal from Benin to Abuja, because we understand that the tribunal wants to be able to do a transparent and objective job, but they also want to feel safe and secure. And all parties have to agree, particularly our party, the PDP, and our candidates. We have to agree that yes, let us move to Abuja, despite the inconveniences this may cause, particularly for our witnesses and all that. But thank God all of that is over, and the hearing has been adjourned to tomorrow, when the INEC, the Pueblo, and the APC would have to commence their defense. So we are waiting for them to see what they are going to defend, particularly as it concerns the malpractice that marked the election.
Now, with this tendering of the extra beavers machines by the INEC, which is further bolstered the People's Democratic Party's argument that the final election results were manipulated, how much confidence do you have in the Election Petition Tribunal to deliver justice to this case that your party has brought before it?
We are very confident. We are very, very confident. Justice Pucci led a 3-member tribunal over time has shown determination and commitment to do what is right. And this will be the first time since 1999 in any election petitions tribunal, that you'll be having such significant amount of evidence, including CTCs. What we have are CTCs. They are certified true copies given to us by ANEC, and those things have receipts. They have receipts, and those things have been submitted to the tribunal. So we are extremely confident that the tribunal is determined, is committed to do what is right, is committed to dispense justice around the ideals of credibility, around the ideals of dispassion, around the ideals of integrity, around the ideals of equity, around the ideals of fairness. Yeah. And we do strongly believe that judgment flowing from this tribunal at the end of the day would spark up that conversation and strengthen that conversation for public institutions reforms and electoral reforms in Nigeria. So we are very, very confident. Our lawyers have done extremely well. The tribunal has done extremely well. We have had series of intimidations, series of harassments and all of that. But we are confident, we are focused, and we are determined to ensure that this whole thing is resolved in the most justiciable manner.
With this recent tendering of evidence by INEC, is it safe to say that perhaps the manipulation of election results that the People's Democratic Party is alleging might have not really been from INEC, but perhaps, maybe, in the words of PDP, the handiwork of the APC?
The tribunal will establish that. What we have said is that there was massive irregularities, and INEC ought to be able to manage its own program, which is the election, because this is a body that is trained, that is financed, has all the resources in the world to manage a state election. So there is need for the tribunal to do what is right. So that's why because there are conversations now as it concerns public and institutions reforms and all of that. And INEC and police are two of those prominent public institutions that Nigerians always talk about and all that. So we strongly believe, particularly with the recent submission of the Beavers machines and the last 5 yesterday, which necessitated us closing the wrapping up our case, because there was no need anymore, because we had a lot of PWUs we were going to bring on board. But once what our PWUs would have said are already residents in the Beavers machines, in our CTCs, in our formiciators, and the other evidential documents that has been tendered. So there is no need discussing the issues anymore. And they had to beg yesterday. INEC and APC had to beg for more time yesterday to prepare their defense. That is why today you can see we are not, there is no hearing. So expectedly by tomorrow, INEC will be able, because they have to start their defense first, then APC, and then the governor. So we are very confident. We are very, very confident in the capacity and ability of the tribunal to do what is right and what is just.
Well, quite strong optimism you have expressed there, Mr. Ewere, but just in closing, with the People's Democratic Party closing its case yesterday, what's next? What should Nigerians be expecting? What should supporters of the PDP what should supporters of the PDP be expecting in the coming days or months ahead in this case?
Well, the coming days is going to be very, very interesting, because we want to see how they want to defend those inconsistencies that has made the election of very low quality and all that. So we want to see how 38 became 438, and we want to see how 200 became 20, and so we want to see all of that. We have urged our party members to remain hopeful, to remain peaceful, and all that, because the body language of the tribunal suggests that the Pochi-led tribunal is ready to do the right thing.
All right, I must say.
Personally,
all right.
Personally, I'm quite impressed with the conversations so far in the courtroom. I'm quite impressed, and I believe that is how it's going to be all along.
All right, thank you so much. We'll be hoping to have you again in the coming days to also speak on this tribunal. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, that has been Mr. Ese Osa Ewere, a member, PDP / Asue-Ogie Campaign Council, joining us from Benin City to speak on the Edo Election Petition Tribunal, which has been moved from Benin City to the Federal Capital Territory and, of course, gaining headway.